So I had to steal a little bit of Brandon's thunder this week. Batman number 12 came out and has nothing to do with the Court of Owls. Unfortunately, that arc ended in issue 11, and issue 12 is kind of like a one-off story where it's all about a character that we got a little bit of hint of in issue 1 of Batman, named Harper Row, who was this character that kind of helped Batman out of the shadows and assist him in a time when he really needed some help, and we knew nothing else of her. And she's more of an oracle character, and you learn all about her backstory in this issue. So it is a one-off story, so you're not going to have to follow any kind of arc, but it's really, really good. The first half of the book, the first 21 pages or so, are drawn by Becky Cloonan, and the last half of the book is drawn by Andy Clark. And it's a good transition in artwork because the first half of the book is more from the girl's point of view and how she's saved by Batman. And then the last half of the book is about how she tries to help him. So that grittiness from girl-type artwork to darker and in the sewers type of artwork, I really enjoyed it and I highly recommend it. So I'm going to give this book 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey nerds, I am reviewing Avengers Assemble number 6, and I really enjoyed this comic, but I have a soft spot for the Avengers too because I really enjoyed the new Avengers, so if you like that, you might want to pick this up. In this issue specifically, it's the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy trying to get the Cosmic Cube back from Thanos. And so far, the lead-up's really good, and I hope that this keeps going where it's going because I really enjoy it. The little childhood inside of me is just jumping for joy. So for this issue, I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey nerds, Jim here with my comic book review this week. I got to read Star Wars Knight Errant Escape number 3 of 5. I'll be honest, the story really didn't grab me. You could tell it's sort of the midpoint of number 3 of 5 and it was slow. The art was okay, the story was okay. I'll be honest, there was a really cool twist which explained how Odion gets his army. I'm not going to go and ruin the twist for you. I want you to go ahead and see it for yourself. It was really cool. Kara sort of stumbles upon how that happens. I did like that. I also really like the sibling rivalry that they developed between Odion and Damon. I really want to see where that goes. Unfortunately, the main character, Kara, aka Mercy, trying to find her family, I'm not sure I really care. They're not getting me there. They sort of develop it a little more at the end, but again, I want to see more of the sibling rivalry because that looks really badass. Overall, I hope this book picks up. I'm only going to give it 3 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
So before Watchmen, Ozymandias number 2 came out this week, whereas number 1 was mostly about his childhood and how he became so far into martial arts and how he was such on a different plane compared to the rest of the human race with his intelligence. The second issue is more of a grounding issue, and it makes you relate to his character a little bit more, and it definitely has little moments that are reminiscent to Batman or a Batman title of that sort. I really enjoyed this issue, and with artwork by Jay Lee that's always fantastic and the writing that just is very contemporary but keeps me wanting to read, I'm going to give this book 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey, Kit here, and I am reviewing Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 9, Episode 12. I have never seen a Buffy episode. I've seen maybe clips here and there, but I've never seen the show. So reading the comic book was really interesting. In this issue, not episode, in this issue, she is trying to shut down a demon social network called Tin Can, which I thought was a cool concept. For reading the comic and not seeing the show, I really enjoyed it. I also like the show Supernatural, so the similarities and, fighting supernatural things, I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
So I got to read Star Wars Lost Tribe of the Sith Spiral number 1 of 5. I'll be honest, this book did not start out very well. It was very boring. It did not get me into any sort of action. They show me action on the page, but it's really not worth my time. They're basically setting up this world of Sith where there's 2 factions. One believes in chaos and one believes in order, which I kind of thought was interesting that there was one that believed in order. The Sith that believe in order is currently in power. And the 2 main characters, Takara and Spinner, sort of set off in their own journey, one by choice and one by exile. Again, I'm not really sure I care at this point. I want to see where it goes because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. There is a reveal at the end, which again, I'm not sure I care. But being Star Wars, I'm going to give it 2 out of 5. Since it's a 1, I really hope they take it to the next level, but they got a lot of work to go.
So It Girl number 1 came out this week, another comic from Image Comics, and it was created by Mike Allred, one of my very favorite artists. And it's a one-off character from his original series, Madman and the Atomics. I knew nothing about the character. I almost know nothing about Madman himself, but I didn't feel any threat from that in this issue. He explains everything about the character that you need to know, and the story moves along, and you want to read another one regardless of not knowing anything about her history. And it starts off really good. The internal artwork's not by Mike Allred, though. The cover art is. I was a little upset by the internal art not being done by him, but I have to say that I just wanted to read another one of his books that he created, so I highly recommend it. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
This review is for The Creep number 0, and it's about a detective trying to unveil these 2 suicide cases which are pretty close to each other. This issue specifically, it's kind of the first one, so you don't really know what's quite happening yet. But I do like the art style for sure. It's kind of the older style with watercolor washes and things like that, and I really liked it. I hope that it picks up for a number 0 issue. I was really happy with it, so I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
So I got to read Archer and Armstrong. I'm going to be honest, this was my favorite book this week. It starts out in ancient Mesopotamia where there's a cataclysm that destroys all life on the planet. We then fast forward 1,000 years, set in Ohio, ironically, at an amusement park where this sect is raising a boy who is going to defeat the man with no name, basically evil incarnate. This boy is named Archer. He passes his test and is sent out into the world to the only place, of course, where you'd find evil, no, not Las Vegas, New York City. He makes his way to New York City. As he was leaving, his family gave him a talisman that would point him in the direction of this man. So he wanders New York City, comes upon this seedy bar. He enters. Oh, FYI, he's never been to the real world, so all this is new to him, everything, and he's overwhelmed by far. But the talisman points to Armstrong. Very interesting how they developed this, because Armstrong was a witness to the original cataclysm 1,000 years before. Love where this book is going. They both end up incarcerated by, can't tell you because that's a twist, but basically Archer learns that he was brainwashed, and he, in future issues, is going to have to team up with Armstrong. I cannot wait to see where this book goes. I love the religious undertones. I love how they're explaining a lot of these things in religion, but then they're also debasing it with a lot of, hey, I was there, I saw it. Whether it's true or not, or whatever you believe in, it's fascinating to see this put to page and the way it's being told. So I really, really enjoyed this book. I highly recommend it. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. I cannot wait to see where they take this book next.
Hey everyone, this review is for Creator-Owned Heroes number 3. And when I first started reading this, I didn't know that it was a bunch of different previews in one comic book, so I was a little confused, but once I kind of stepped back and looked at everything, I really enjoyed it. You get to see a little bit of previews of everything that they're working on, and as long as you know that when you read it, it makes much more sense. I liked all the previews. Trigger Girl looked really interesting. I think I might look more into that story. But for a preview book, it was really cool. If you kind of want to see a mix of different stories, go ahead and pick it up. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.